My dear brothers and sisters, let me ask you something very personal. How many times did you explain yourself, hoping people would finally understand your heart, only to walk away feeling more drained, more misunderstood, and more hurt than before? How many nights did you replay conversations in your mind, wishing you had said something differently, defended yourself better, or proven your truth more clearly? But let me tell you something profound today. There comes a moment in life when Allah gently removes your voice from the argument so He can place His power into your situation. When you stopped explaining yourself, it was not because you were wrong. It was because Allah was preparing to defend you in ways words never could. And if you are in that quiet season right now, this message is not an accident. It is a reminder that Allah has seen everything you chose not to say. 1. Not everyone deserves access to your story. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the earliest and most painful lessons Allah teaches a believer is that not everyone deserves access to your story, your intentions, your struggles, or the private corners of your heart. In the beginning, when your heart is still soft and hopeful, you assume people listen with sincerity because you listen with sincerity. You explain yourself because you believe clarity will bring understanding, honesty will bring fairness, and truth will settle misunderstandings. But life teaches you, slowly and sometimes painfully, that not all ears are pure and not all hearts are open. Some people listen only to reply, not to reflect. Some listen only to judge, not to understand. And some listen only to collect pieces of your story so they can twist them later in ways that suit their narrative. When you keep explaining yourself to such people, something very subtle happens inside you. Your energy drains, your peace weakens, your heart becomes tired, not because you are wrong, but because you are pouring truth into containers that were never meant to hold it. Seeking validation from closed hearts is exhausting, and Allah, in His mercy, does not want you living in constant emotional fatigue. He does not want you standing in front of every accusation, every misunderstanding, every assumption, trying to prove your worth. Allah already knows your intentions, and that alone should be enough. There comes a moment of spiritual maturity when you realize that explaining yourself over and over is not strength, it is attachment. It is attachment to being understood by people instead of being accepted by Allah. And when Allah sees that attachment hurting you, He gently teaches you to let go. He teaches you that your dignity is more valuable than your defense, and your silence can be more powerful than 1,000 words. Allah never asked you to convince people of your truth. He asked you to live with integrity, patience, and sincerity. He asked you to walk straight, even if others misunderstand your direction. And when you finally stop explaining, something beautiful happens. Allah begins to speak on your behalf without words. He lets your actions reveal your character. He lets time expose false assumptions. He lets outcomes clarify intentions. People begin to see consistency where they once doubted, peace where they once questioned, and stability where they once accused. This is Allah defending you in the quietest yet most powerful way. Actions, my dear brothers and sisters, do what explanations never can. They silence accusations, expose falsehood, and protect your honor without exhausting your heart. So, if you are in a season where Allah is teaching you to speak less and trust more, do not resist it. This is not loss. This is growth. This is Allah teaching you that your story is sacred and not everyone is worthy of hearing it. 2. Silence is where Tawakkul truly begins. My dear brothers and sisters, many people believe Tawakkul means saying, I trust Allah, while still holding tightly to the need to control outcomes, opinions, and perceptions. But true Tawakkul does not live on the tongue alone. It lives in the heart, and it reveals itself most clearly in silence. Tawakkul truly begins at the moment when you could explain yourself, could defend yourself, could clear your name, but you choose instead to place the matter entirely in Allah's hands. That moment is not weakness. That moment is courage rooted in faith. When someone wrongs you, misunderstands you, or speaks falsely about you, your nafs immediately wants to react. It wants to respond quickly, loudly, and emotionally. It wants to prove innocence, correct the record, and protect your image. This is human. But Allah teaches the believer something higher. He teaches you that reacting does not always mean winning, and silence does not always mean losing. Sometimes silence is the clearest sign that you trust Allah more than you trust your own ability to defend yourself. Tawakkul means you understand, deep in your heart, that Allah sees what people do not see. He hears what is whispered behind closed doors. He knows the intentions that never make it to words. When you remain silent for His sake, you are saying without speaking, Ya Allah, you know the truth, and that is enough for me. This level of trust is not easy. It requires patience, self-restraint, and a strong belief that Allah is Al-Adil, the most just. It requires believing that no lie can outrun Allah's justice and no truth can be buried forever. Many times Allah delays His defense, not because He is absent, but because He is preparing something greater. If you defend yourself immediately, you may win an argument, but you might lose peace. When you allow Allah to defend you, He defends you in ways that restore your honor and protect your heart. He changes perspectives slowly. He removes harmful people quietly. He exposes falsehood without humiliating you. And He does all of this while you remain dignified, composed, and protected. Silence, my dear brothers and sisters, is not emptiness. Silence is worship when it is filled with trust. Every time you hold your tongue and turn to Allah instead, you are strengthening your tawakkul. Every time you resist the urge to explain yourself to people and instead explain your pain to Allah in dua, you are choosing a higher path, and Allah loves that choice. He promises that whoever relies upon Him, He is sufficient for them. So if you are in a season where Allah is teaching you to be quiet, understand this clearly. He is not leaving you defenseless. He is teaching you to rely on the strongest defender. Your silence is not abandonment. It is trust in motion. It is the beginning of Allah working on your behalf in ways far more powerful than anything you could say. 3. Allah protects the one who protects their tongue. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the greatest forms of protection Allah gives a believer is the ability to restrain the tongue. The tongue may be small, but its impact is enormous. It can heal hearts, but it can also destroy peace, relationships, and even faith if it is not controlled. That is why Islam places such deep importance on guarding what we say, especially in moments of anger, pain, or injustice. When you choose to protect your tongue, Allah, in return, protects you in ways you may not immediately see. In moments when you are hurt or misunderstood, words rush to your lips. You feel the urge to defend yourself, to expose others, to explain every detail so that people finally see the truth. But often, speaking in these moments does not bring relief. Instead, it opens doors to regret. A single sentence spoken in frustration can undo years of good character. Allah, in His mercy, sometimes saves you by stopping you from speaking. That pause, that restraint, that silence is not weakness. It is Allah guiding you away from harm. The Prophet ﷺ taught us that a person may speak a single word without thinking much of it, and that word can throw them into destruction. This is why silence, when guided by wisdom, becomes a shield. When you hold your tongue, you protect yourself from sins like backbiting, slander, harsh speech, and arrogance. You protect your heart from becoming hardened by constant arguments. You protect your dignity from being lowered in public disputes. And most importantly, you protect your relationship with Allah. Allah loves the servant who controls themselves when they are capable of reacting. Anyone can shout, anyone can argue, anyone can defend themselves loudly. But it takes strength of Iman to remain calm when your ego is provoked. When you choose silence for the sake of Allah, He records that restraint as an act of worship. He sees the injustice you endured without retaliation. He hears the words you swallowed for His sake. and He promises that no act done sincerely for Him is ever wasted. There is also a deep wisdom in silence that many people do not realize. When you stop responding, false narratives lose fuel. Arguments die without your participation. Those who seek reaction are left exposed. Allah allows the truth to surface naturally while you remain protected. People begin to notice your composure, your patience, your dignity, and even if they never admit it, your silence unsettles falsehood more than your words ever could. So, my dear brothers and sisters, understand this clearly. Every time you protect your tongue, Allah protects your honor. Every time you choose silence over sin, Allah chooses mercy over punishment for you. And every time you trust Allah enough to remain quiet, He stands between you and harm as your guardian. Guard your tongue, and you will find that Allah guards your heart, your reputation, and your peace in ways you could never achieve on your own. 3. Allah protects the one who protects their tongue. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most powerful yet overlooked forms of protection Allah grants a believer is control over the tongue. The tongue is small in size, but its consequences are massive. With a few words, you can build bridges or burn them. With a few sentences, you can calm a storm or create one. This is why Islam gives such serious attention to speech, because Allah knows that many of the battles we lose in life are not because we were wrong, but because we spoke when silence would have saved us. When you are hurt, misunderstood, accused, or treated unfairly, the first reaction of the nafs is to speak. You want to explain every detail. You want to defend your honor. You want people to hear your side immediately. This reaction feels natural, but Allah teaches the believer something deeper through experience. He teaches you that not every truth needs to be spoken, and not every moment needs your voice. Sometimes, the real test is not whether you can speak well, but whether you can stay silent with dignity. The Prophet ﷺ warned us that a person may utter a single word without thinking much of it, and that word can throw them into destruction. Think about that, my dear brothers and sisters. One careless sentence spoken in anger, frustration, or desperation can undo years of good character. It can damage relationships, stain reputations, and weigh heavily on the heart. Allah, in His mercy, often protects you by stopping you from speaking. That hesitation you feel, that tightness in your chest before you respond, that inner voice telling you to stay quiet, this is not weakness. This is divine guidance. When you restrain your tongue, you are not suppressing truth, you are preserving wisdom. You are protecting yourself from sins that creep in so easily during emotional moments, such as backbiting, slander, harshness, arrogance, and exaggeration. You are protecting your heart from becoming addicted to arguments and conflicts. You are protecting your dignity from being dragged into public disputes that rarely end with justice. And above all, you are protecting your relationship with Allah. Because Allah loves restraint more than reaction, there is also a hidden mercy in silence that many people do not realize until much later. When you stop responding, falsehood loses its power. Lies need reaction to survive. Accusations need arguments to feel important. When you refuse to engage, Allah allows those lies to collapse under their own weight. Time becomes your ally, your consistency becomes your proof, your character becomes your defense. Without you saying a single word, Allah begins to reveal who was truthful and who was not. Silence also humbles the ego. It teaches you that your worth does not depend on winning arguments or correcting every misunderstanding. Your worth comes from Allah seeing you, knowing you, and valuing your sincerity. When you protect your tongue for His sake, Allah records that restraint as an act of worship. He sees the words you swallowed. He sees the anger you controlled. He sees the patience you practiced when no one else noticed. And He promises, with absolute certainty, that He never lets such efforts go unrewarded. My dear brothers and sisters, understand this deeply. Every time you protect your tongue, Allah protects your honor. Every time you choose silence over sin, Allah chooses mercy over punishment for you. And every time you trust Allah enough to remain quiet, He places Himself between you and harm as your defender. Guard your tongue, even when it feels difficult, even when you feel misunderstood, even when your heart aches to speak, because in that silence, Allah is working, protecting, and elevating you in ways words never could. 4. Allah reveals the truth without noise. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most comforting realities in our faith is that truth does not need shouting to survive. Truth is strong on its own because it is supported by Allah. Falsehood, on the other hand, is weak, and that is why it relies on noise, repetition, and emotional reactions to stay alive. When Allah teaches you to step back and remain silent, He is not hiding the truth. He is allowing it to rise naturally in a way that protects your dignity and preserves your peace. Many people believe that if they do not immediately correct every lie spoken about them, those lies will become reality. But Allah teaches us something far greater through experience. He shows us that time is one of the strongest witnesses. When you live with consistency, sincerity, and integrity, the truth begins to reveal itself without your intervention. Your behavior becomes the answer. Your patience becomes the evidence. Your calmness becomes the proof that there is something deeper supporting you, and that support is Allah. When you chase every misunderstanding with explanations, you often end up amplifying the very thing you wanted to silence. Arguments give attention to falsehood. Emotional reactions give energy to accusations. But when you step back and trust Allah, He removes the spotlight from the lie and places it on your character instead. People begin to notice that you are not defensive, not reactive, not desperate to be believed. That composure itself raises questions in their minds. Why is this person so calm? Why are they not responding? And slowly, the truth begins to surface. Allah reveals truth in ways that words never can. He reveals it through outcomes. He reveals it through changed hearts. He reveals it through circumstances that align so clearly that even the most stubborn doubts begin to fade. Sometimes the very people who misunderstood you are later placed in situations where they see your sincerity firsthand. Sometimes Allah removes them entirely from your life so their opinions no longer matter. And sometimes Allah allows others to speak up for you without you ever asking. This is Allah defending you quietly, beautifully, and perfectly. There is also great mercy in the way Allah reveals truth. When you let Allah handle it, He does not expose people harshly or publicly unless necessary. He corrects situations with wisdom. He protects you from humiliation. He allows dignity to remain intact on all sides. When humans defend themselves, emotions often take over. Words become sharp, lines are crossed, regret follows. But when Allah defends you, there is no regret, only relief. My dear brothers and sisters, understand that Allah does not need your voice to establish the truth. He needs your sincerity, your patience, and your trust. When you remain quiet for His sake, you are not burying the truth, you are planting it. And Allah causes it to grow at the right time, in the right way, and in the right hearts. So do not fear silence. Do not rush to explain. Do not exhaust yourself trying to control how people see you. Let Allah reveal what needs to be revealed. His timing is always perfect, and His truth always reaches where it is meant to reach. 5. Being misunderstood is sometimes divine protection. My dear brothers and sisters, being misunderstood is one of the most painful emotional experiences a believer can go through. It hurts because you know your intentions were pure. It hurts because you never meant harm. It hurts because you wish people could see your heart the way Allah sees it. And yet, Allah, in His wisdom, sometimes allows misunderstanding to remain, not to punish you, but to protect you. What feels like rejection is often redirection. What feels like isolation is often preservation. When people misunderstand you, your nafs wants to correct them immediately. You want to explain your side, clarify your motives, and prove that you are not who they assume you are. But Allah, who knows the unseen, knows something you do not yet see. He knows that some people, if given full access to your heart, your plans, or your journey, would only harm you, delay you, or drain you. So He allows misunderstanding to act as a barrier. It keeps certain people at a distance. It filters who is meant to stay and who is meant to leave. There are people who only love you when they benefit from you, and there are people who only support you when they understand you on their terms. Allah does not want your heart tied to such fragile acceptance. When He allows you to be misunderstood, He is teaching you to detach from people's approval and attach yourself fully to Him. This detachment is painful at first, but it is deeply freeing. You stop performing for people. You stop shrinking yourself to be accepted. You stop over-explaining just to be liked. And in that space, Allah fills your heart with dignity and self-respect. Being misunderstood also reveals who truly knows you. Those who care will not demand constant explanations. They will trust your character even when they do not have all the details. They will give you the benefit of the doubt. They will remain gentle with your heart. Others will walk away, criticize, or judge. And as painful as that is, it is also clarity. Allah is removing unnecessary noise from your life so you can hear Him more clearly. There is also a deeper spiritual protection in being misunderstood. When people misunderstand you, they often stop expecting things from you. They stop relying on you emotionally. They stop pulling you into their dramas and conflicts. This creates space for you to grow privately, to heal quietly, and to strengthen your relationship with Allah without constant interference. Allah protects your inner world by limiting who has access to it. My dear brothers and sisters, not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Some misunderstandings are mercy in disguise. They protect you from people who would never honor your truth even if you explained it perfectly. They teach you that Allah's opinion is the only one that truly matters, and they remind you that your worth is not defined by how well people understand you, but by how sincerely you walk with Allah. So if you are being misunderstood right now, do not rush to fix it. Ask yourself instead, what is Allah protecting me from? Who is Allah distancing me from? What space is He creating in my life? Sometimes being misunderstood is not a loss of connection. It is Allah's way of guarding your heart, your peace, and your future. 6. Allah fights battles you were never meant to fight. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most exhausting realizations in life is discovering that many of the battles you are fighting were never meant to be yours. You enter them thinking you are defending your honor, protecting your name, or standing up for yourself, but instead you find your heart growing heavier, your peace disappearing, and your iman being tested. Allah, in His mercy, eventually teaches you a liberating truth. Not every conflict requires your involvement, and not every accusation demands your response. There are battles that drain you because they are rooted in ego, misunderstanding, jealousy, or people's unresolved issues, not in your actual wrongdoing. When you try to fight these battles with words, explanations, or arguments, you often end up more wounded than victorious. Allah sees this exhaustion. He sees how much emotional energy you are spending trying to correct what people choose not to understand. And out of His love for you, He gently removes you from the battlefield and says, "Leave this to me." When you step back and allow Allah to fight for you, you are not surrendering to injustice. You are submitting to divine wisdom. Allah knows which battles will elevate you and which ones will break you if you continue fighting them. Some conflicts exist only to distract you from your growth, your healing, and your purpose. When you insist on engaging, you delay your own progress. But when you let Allah take over, He resolves matters without draining your soul. Allah fights in ways you never could. He does not argue. He changes hearts. He does not shout. He rearranges circumstances. He does not expose harshly. He reveals truth with precision and timing. While you are sleeping, making dua, or simply trying to survive quietly, Allah is working behind the scenes. He is removing influence from people who wronged you. He is closing doors that led to harm. He is opening paths that restore your dignity and peace. And often you only realize later that a situation resolved itself without you lifting a finger. There is also deep humility in allowing Allah to fight your battles. It requires admitting that you are limited and that Allah is unlimited. It requires trusting that justice does not depend on your ability to argue well, explain clearly, or defend forcefully. Justice belongs to Allah alone, and when He takes charge, outcomes are not only fair, they are healing. He protects you from becoming bitter, reactive, or hardened by conflict. He saves your heart from carrying grudges that weigh it down for years. My dear brothers and sisters, when Allah removes you from a battle, it is not because you are weak. It is because He wants to protect your heart and preserve your strength for what truly matters. He wants you focused on growth, not gossip, on healing, not hostility, on purpose, not people's opinions. Letting Allah fight your battles is an act of trust that transforms your life. You stop living in constant defense mode and begin living in surrender and peace. So if you feel pulled into conflicts that are exhausting you, pause, step back, ask yourself honestly, is this battle worth my peace? Or is Allah inviting me to let go and let Him handle it? When you choose Allah over arguments, He chooses peace over chaos for you. And when Allah fights for you, my dear brothers and sisters, victory comes quietly, completely, and without regret. 7. Quiet hearts are closest to Allah's help. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the deepest secrets of faith is that Allah's help often comes closest to hearts that have become quiet. Not quiet because they are empty, but quiet because they are surrendered. A quiet heart is not a heart that feels nothing. It is a heart that has stopped fighting Allah's decree and has begun trusting His wisdom. When you stop explaining yourself to the world, something powerful happens inside you. Your heart turns inward, away from people, and upward, toward Allah. When the heart is loud with anxiety, arguments, and the need to be understood, it struggles to hear Allah's guidance. But when the heart becomes still, even in pain, Allah's help begins to flow gently and clearly. You start speaking less to people and more to Allah. Your du'as become more honest, more vulnerable, and more sincere. You stop performing strength and begin living it. In that quiet connection, Allah draws closer to you because He loves the servant who turns to Him when no one else can help. A quiet heart learns patience in a way noise never could. It learns to sit with discomfort without panicking. It learns to trust Allah even when answers are delayed. It learns that relief does not always come as immediate change, but as inner peace that carries you through the waiting. This is why Allah often allows hardship to quiet the heart. Not to punish you, but to bring you back to Him fully, without distractions, without false supports, without emotional noise. When your heart becomes quiet, you also become more aware of Allah's presence in your life. You begin to notice the small mercies that were always there. A door closing that protected you, a delay that saved you from harm, a loss that redirected you to something purer. In the quiet, Allah teaches you that He was working all along, even when you felt alone. And this awareness strengthens your iman in a way no argument ever could. Quiet hearts are also protected hearts. They are less shaken by people's opinions and less controlled by praise or criticism. When you are no longer constantly explaining yourself, you are no longer constantly defending your ego. Your self-worth shifts from people's approval to Allah's acceptance. This shift brings stability, confidence, and calm. You no longer chase validation. You walk with certainty, even if the path feels lonely at times. My dear brothers and sisters, Allah's help does not always arrive with miracles that shake the world. Sometimes it arrives as peace that settles your chest. Sometimes it arrives as strength you did not know you had. Sometimes it arrives as clarity that allows you to move forward without resentment. And all of this begins when the heart becomes quiet and fully reliant on Allah. So if Allah has placed you in a season of silence, do not fear it. This is not abandonment, this is closeness. This is Allah drawing you nearer, teaching you to listen instead of explain, to trust instead of react, and to rest instead of fight. A quiet heart is not a defeated heart. It is a heart standing at the door of Allah's help, waiting with patience, certainty, and deep faith. My dear brothers and sisters, if there is one truth I want you to carry with you after hearing this, it is this: silence was never your loss, it was your protection. The moment you stopped explaining yourself to people, Allah began handling matters on your behalf with a wisdom far greater than anything words could achieve. You were not ignored, you were not forgotten. You were being defended quietly by the one who sees what is hidden and knows what is buried deep inside hearts. When you let go of the need to be understood by everyone, Allah freed you from a heavy burden. He replaced anxiety with peace, confusion with clarity, and emotional exhaustion with inner strength. You learned that dignity does not come from winning arguments, and honor does not come from public validation. True honor comes from trusting Allah enough to remain calm when your ego wants to react and your heart wants to explain. Allah taught you that not every accusation deserves a response, not every misunderstanding requires correction, and not every battle is yours to fight. Some matters are elevated only when placed in His hands. And when Allah takes charge, outcomes are not only just, they are healing. He protects your heart from bitterness, your tongue from regret, and your soul from carrying wounds that were never meant to define you. So if you are walking through a season of silence right now, do not rush it, do not fear it, do not break it out of impatience. This silence is shaping you, strengthening you, and drawing you closer to Allah in ways comfort never could. Keep your heart sincere, your tongue restrained, and your trust firm, because when you stopped explaining yourself, Allah started defending you, and no defense is stronger, more complete, or more merciful than His.